Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera saya ucapkan kepada semua mahasiswa-mahasiswi ambilan Diploma semester Khas Sesi 2021-2022. Selamat datang saya ucapkan dalam slot kita pada hari ini iaitu slot Ikon Alumni Pusat Pengajian Diploma bersama dengan saya Muhammad Sultan bin Suwanda selaku moderator utama anda untuk malam ini. Yang berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Zaki bin Noh, Dekan Pusat Pengajian Diploma. Yang berusaha Timbalan Dekan, Barisan Ketua Jabatan, Barisan Ketua Program Akademik, Barisan Pensyarah serta hadirin dan hadirat yang saya hormati sekalian. Baiklah, mungkin saya boleh ceritakan sedikit tujuan slot ini diadakan adalah sebagai gambaran dan pendedahan secara lebih mendalam berkenaan bidang-bidang kerjaya yang berkaitan program akademik yang dipilih. Di samping itu juga, slot ini memberi ruang dan peluang kepada pelajar baharu mengenali ikon alumni Pusat Pengajian Diploma tentang sumbangan dan peluang kerjaya selepas para ikon alumni bergraduasi. Baiklah, bagi memberkati slot kita pada hari ini, dijemput Saudara Lokman Hakim bin Mahmud Zudi untuk mengetuai bacaan doa.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain. Ya Allah, Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran. Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan. Di tangan Engkau segala kebajikan. Kepada Engkaulah kembali segala urusan. Allahumma ya karimu ya rahim. Cucurilah rahmat dan rahimmu ke atas majlis ikon alumni Pusat Pengajian Diploma yang diadakan pada hari ini. Berkatilah ia dari awal hingga akhirnya. Ya fa'alu lima yurid. Kami juga memohon perlindungan daripadamu dari segala perkara yang boleh mencacat celakan majlis kami dan daripada segala perkara yang melalaikan kami dari berbuat taat kepadamu. Kepadamu juga kami serah segala urusan kami. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi washabihi wasallam walhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Amin, amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Baiklah, tanpa melengahkan masa, dijemput yang berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Zaki bin Noh untuk memberikan ucapan. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma warzuqni fahma. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Terima kasih saudara pengerusi majlis yang berusaha Timbalan Dekan Pusat Pengajian Diploma, yang berusaha Ketua-Ketua Jabatan Pusat Pengajian Diploma, para pensyarah Pusat Pengajian Diploma, Barisan Sekretariat Minggu Transformasi Mahasiswa, para pelajar, mahasiswa-mahasiswi Pusat Pengajian Diploma yang diraikan ikon-ikon jemputan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat malam. Alhamdulillah, marilah sama-sama kita merafakkan kesyukuran kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala kerana dengan limpah kurnia dan izinnya kita masih diberi kesempatan untuk bertemu kembali secara maya pada malam ini. Para pelajar yang dikasihi sekalian, program Ikon Alumni Pusat Pengajian Diploma diadakan dalam rangka kerja MTM ini bertujuan antaranya adalah untuk ramah mesra antara pelajar baharu dan alumni. Melalui program ini diharapkan pelajar-pelajar baharu akan mendapat maklumat-maklumat baharu, perkongsian pengalaman pahit dan manis sebagai bekas pelajar PPD dan juga mendengar nasihat-nasihat yang berguna kepada pelajar untuk mendepani cabaran mendatang supaya para pelajar menjadi matang dalam membuat keputusan. Usaha yang dibuat oleh pihak pengurusan Pusat Pengajian Diploma untuk menjemput ikon alumni mengikut jabatan masing-masing adalah sangat baik dan tepat sekali pada masanya untuk memberi pengkhususan maklumat yang diperlukan oleh pelajar-pelajar baharu mengikut bidang masing-masing. Oleh yang demikian, saya mengambil kesempatan ini untuk mengumumkan nama ikon-ikon alumni yang akan berkongsi pengalaman mereka pada malam ini. Pertama, Encik Muhammad Khairul Fitri bin Sarimin, Manager Painam Agrofarm, mewakili Jabatan Kejuruteraan Awam. Kedua, Puan Nur Fatihah binti Muhammad Misfar, QA Engineer, ASM Teknologi Malaysia Sdn Bhd, mewakili Jabatan Kejuruteraan Elektrik. Ketiga, Encik On Vincent, Team Lead Content Specialist, Clarivet Malaysia Sdn Bhd, mewakili Jabatan Kejuruteraan Mekanikal. Keempat, Encik Muhammad Farhan bin Johar, Yours Truly Network, mewakili Jabatan Sains dan Matematik. Dan yang kelima, Puan Nur Izzah binti Dahari, Junior IT Consultant, FastPay Sdn Bhd, mewakili Jabatan Teknologi Maklumat. Terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada semua ikon yang sudi melapangkan masa untuk bersama-sama pelajar baharu pada malam ini. Semoga keikhlasan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan untuk memberi input kepada pelajar-pelajar baharu akan mendapat kebaikan untuk diri sendiri dan kepada semua orang. Para pelajar yang dikasihi sekalian, untuk makluman ikon-ikon jemputan, seramai 846 orang pelajar telah mendaftar sebagai pelajar baharu di Pusat Pengajian Diploma pada 1 Ogos yang lalu. Pada sesi pengajian kali ini, Pusat Pengajian Diploma juga telah menawarkan satu program baharu iaitu Diploma Teknologi Animasi dengan unjuran pengambilan pelajar seramai 60 orang pelajar. Program ini ditawarkan oleh Jabatan Teknologi Maklumat. Dengan adanya penawaran baharu ini, maka bertambahlah bilangan ahli keluarga Pusat Pengajian Diploma menjadi keluarga yang besar di kampus Cawangan Paguh. Saya ingin mengambil kesempatan ini juga untuk memohon maaf kepada semua pelajar baharu di atas makluman awal saya tentang bilangan pelajar yang mendaftar iaitu seramai 929 orang pelajar pada 1 Ogos yang lalu. Sebenarnya bilangan 929 orang pelajar ini adalah pelajar yang telah mengesahkan untuk setuju terima tawaran kemasukan ke program-program diploma UTHM. Namun begitu, seramai 83 orang pelajar tidak mendaftar seperti yang dijadualkan atas sebab masing-masing. Para pelajar yang dikasihi sekalian, universiti sentiasa memikirkan untuk meningkatkan mutu pengajaran dan pembelajaran pelajar. Ini dapat dilihat daripada komitmen pihak universiti untuk memastikan PDP dapat dilaksanakan dengan sempurna dan terbaik, sama ada PDP dibuat secara fizikal ataupun online. Begitu juga dalam urusan pentadbiran universiti. Pihak universiti menjemput pelajar untuk sama-sama menguruskan universiti. Majlis Perwakilan Pelajar MPP telah dijemput dalam mesyuarat-mesyuarat yang penting untuk membuat keputusan seperti mesyuarat Senat Universiti, mesyuarat pengurusan universiti. Satu tempat yang terbaik untuk memproses pemikiran dan gerak kerja pelajar untuk melahirkan tenaga kerja mahir, pemimpin, usahawan dan sebagainya. Oleh itu, saya memberi penegasan di sini bahawa pilihan adik-adik untuk mengikuti pengajian di peringkat universiti, khususnya UTHM ini, adalah merupakan pilihan yang tepat. Ambillah peluang yang ada untuk adik-adik membina karakter diri masing-masing untuk sebuah kejayaan yang diimpikan oleh adik-adik selama ini. Mudah-mudahan impian adik ini akan menjadi kenyataan pada satu hari nanti. Sekian dahulu ucapan saya dan saya akhiri dengan lafaz wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Yang Berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Zakir bin Noh di atas ucapan itu tadi. Baiklah para hadirin yang saya hormati sekalian, dengan itu tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, saya serahkan kepada rakan setugas barisan moderator untuk meneruskan slot kita pada hari ini.
Vincent bagi meneruskan sesi kita pada petang ini, pada malam ini.
Okay, so thank you, Saudara Hazim. So once again, my name is Vincent and I'm the alumni for Jabatan Kejuruteraan Mekanikal for Pusat Pengajian Diploma 10 years ago. I actually joined UTHM 10 years ago, which is in 2011, and I took diploma and degree in mechanical engineering in UTHM. And I have been working for around 5 years now, and I used to work in construction industry, and I'm currently working in intellectual property industry. And just like what Saudara Hazim has mentioned, I am currently a team lead in Clarivate, which is one of the largest company that provides data related to journals, publications, and also intellectual property data. And I am glad that I was invited over for this session to do a quick sharing, because I believe that my experience in operations and management can give some ideas to all of you to imagine what's going to happen after you graduate with a diploma or a degree. So in this sharing, I'm just going to share one thing, which is how are you going to build your experience in UTHM so that you're able to increase the chances to get a job in future. So this sharing, I will split it into two parts. So the first one is I'm going to explain what is the mindset that you should have during diploma. And then I'm going to share my career planning that I have started since diploma studies. So for this part, Hazim has also shared it on his screen. So let us look over that. But before I even explain about what are the good mindsets for diploma studies, I think that it is always important for us to understand what are the advantages of us taking diploma, because I believe that you guys have heard about foundations, which is Asasi, and also metrics, and also STPN, A levels, and so on. There are a lot of pre-universities out there. But for diploma students, I would say that it has certain advantages. For example, because we know that in UTHM, for diploma in mechanical engineering, we need to study for like 2.5 years. So in these 2.5 years of time, it actually allows you to have more time to understand what is the mechanical engineering. And it also gives you 2.5 years of time to build good experience before you graduate and get a job. And also it gives you more time to explore what are the type of engineers that you want to be in future. So this would be some of the advantages that I would say for diploma in mechanical engineering. So because I'm not just a team lead in Tarikh, I'm actually also the hiring manager in Tarikh. So I have a bit of experience in telling which candidate or which student is good or which students could need more improvement so that this student can get have higher chance to get a job in future. So, but I think that because some of us may think that now I'm taking diploma, so maybe I will only get a job after degree. But the thing is that if you only focus to build your experience when you're almost graduating degree, right, I think that they will be a bit too late. So that's why I think that it is important for all of us to understand what are the good mindsets that you can have when you are still in diploma studies. So I think the first one is that the first tip is we have to understand what are the top skills to be a competitive graduate. Because so over here I have listed 2 things. So the first one is the top soft skills, and the second one is the top hard skills. So basically, soft skills, hard skills are different things, but how different are these skills? Soft skills basically are the skills that you can learn by doing things out of academics. For example, probably you join debate club, probably you join Vrela, or probably you join enactors. There are a lot of clubs and societies in UTHM that you can join so that you can build experience. You also can build soft skills by becoming one of the AJK for this program Mahasiswa. So there are a lot of opportunities that you can find UTHM just to build the soft skills. And usually soft skills are the skills that relates to people around us. For example, like communication skills, team working, problem solving, working under stress, and there's a lot of different types of soft skills. But if you Google today, if you search for the top soft skills, most likely these 9 skills over here will be appearing on the web browser. So in these sessions, I'm also going to tell you how you guys can learn these soft skills other than just getting a diploma from UTHM. And for hard skills, basically hard skills are the skills that you can learn from classes, for example, like technical drawing, calculations. Basically, the moment you graduate with a diploma or degree in mechanical engineering, most likely you will learn how to do technical drawings or do calculations. So these skills are the hard skills that you can learn from classes. And just one thing to remember, that different type of jobs requires different type of hard skills. Because I think that there is one, misunderstanding that people have, is that they will say that, okay, now you get a diploma in mechanical engineering, means that you have to be a mechanical engineer. It means that you have to be a mechanical engineer in future. That is not the case. Because for the second tip, you have to understand what is your goal after graduations. Yes, becoming a mechanical engineer is one of the goals, but actually in real life, there are a lot of fancy names, not just mechanical engineering, not just mechanical engineering, because over here I've listed a few. For example, we can be research and development engineer, you can be process engineer, you can be design engineer, or you can also become lecturer or product engineer and maintenance engineer. There are a lot of types of engineer that requires at least a diploma or a degree in mechanical engineering. And after that, once you understand that, for example, let's say you want to be a research and development engineer. So the next thing you should do is you can go for JobStreet or LinkedIn to search for this job and try to understand what are the requirements to achieve this goal. So over here, I've also screenshot a few criteria for different type of jobs, for example, and usually this job posting or these job requirements that you can see from job streets, they will list out what are the soft skills and the hard skills that they require in order to get this job. So for example, here it lists SolidWorks, Microsoft Office as the hard skill, and good English skills in verbal and written as the soft skills. So scrolling down, it also lists out personal attributes such as team player, open-minded, communicative personality, and so on. So the thing is that there are a lot of, because I myself is an interviewer, so I do encounter a lot of students that graduated with first class, graduated from impressive university, but they didn't explore that much in university, so they didn't really train their team player skill or communicative personality, this kind of skills. So other than that, after you know what you want to be, and after you know what are the skills that you need to have, the next step is you need to identify what are the suitable clubs or society or associations in university. So this one need to scroll down a bit. Scroll down furthermore. Okay, yeah, over here. So over here, the next step is to identify what are the suitable clubs, society, or associations. And so that once you join these clubs, you will have more opportunity to join a lot of activities that you can train your soft skill and also hard skills. So I'm not sure how many clubs there are in UTHM again, but I remember last time, I think there was around like 30 or 40 different type of clubs in UTHM. So I would recommend that you guys approach your lecturer or approach your seniors to understand what are the type of clubs that is available in UTHM, and try to contact these people and join the activities, because there are different type of clubs. Like over here, I've listed, for example, like Institutions of Engineers Malaysia. If you join these clubs, most likely you will be exposed to a lot of engineering forums, or probably you can join other engineering talks, or you probably can collaborate with other engineers from other universities as well. Or other clubs, for example, like Enactors, which is a business-based club, where if you join it, most likely you have the opportunity to do some business cases so that you can get more skills that is related to business. And for example, like me, last time I joined debate secretariat, especially in English and Chinese debating. So I actually spent 5 years of time just to train my linguistic skill. And that is the reason why I focus on linguistic skill, which is highly related to what I want to achieve in future. And other than that, it is also very important for you to find balance between studies and extra activities, so that you can achieve good results and also sharpen your good skills after 2.5 years of diploma studies. For example, you should set a schedule for studying and also allocate a certain time only for these extra activities. And why all these things important, right? Because just what I've mentioned, because when we apply for a job, usually interviewer, they want to know that what have you done in university. But if you just tell them that, okay, I graduated with a diploma in mechanical engineering, or I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering, so the interviewer would be like, okay, you have this degree, but there are also a lot of students with a mechanical engineering degree, right? So what makes you so special when compared to these students? That is why some interviewers like me, I would really appreciate if those people who apply for my department shows me that they have done a lot of other things in university, not just studying. Probably they join a lot of clubs that can improve their social skill or their communication skills. These are the things that are important in certain jobs that you want to apply in future. And also, it really gives a good impression for the interviewer, because if you say that you manage to get good results and also you manage to represent your university in different type of activities, it shows that you're a person who can have good time management, and you are also a fast learner because you can handle many different things at the same time. So these are the things that can make you look special when it is compared to other students. So that's why, for example, sometimes in my interview, I will ask questions like, for example, can you give me an example where you have completed technical drawing? Because basically, if you have graduated with a diploma or degree in mechanical engineering, you should be able to answer these questions. Because these questions usually is to test your hard skills, whether or not you are actually good at these hard skills or whether or not you are just having a bit of these hard skills only. And sometimes a more critical questions that usually students wouldn't able to answer is when the interviewer actually asks to prove if you have done anything to brush up your soft skills. For example, sometimes I will ask that, can you tell me a time where you have demonstrated good communication skills? So over here, I have listed 2 answers which actually happen in real life. So some students, they may just focus on studying like throughout the 3.5 years and probably throughout the whole degree life. And then when it comes to soft skills kind of answer, they couldn't explain if they have done anything related to teamwork or problem solving or communications. So it is not really giving a good impressions to the interviewer. But if you have said something like, okay, you have represented Pusat Pengajian Diploma to represent your engineering project and you are selected as the best presenter. So when you say this statement, the interviewer will actually think that you are not just an engineer, but you're also someone who is very good at communicating with other people. So probably this is a reason why I think that you are very special when you are being compared to other people. So because in this sharing, I mean for these slides that Hazim has shown you, it is a bit, it is a bit theoretical. So probably you couldn't understand why am I listing all these things. So Hazim, you need to share another slides, because in another slide, especially for this slide, this is the thing that I actually done since diploma studies, and there is a good reason why I did this. So in this slide, in this presentation, is actually my career planning that I have started since diploma life, and in this slide alone, I have separated into 2 parts, which is my study life, what have I done in my study life, and also what I have done in my working life, so that I can move further in life. So remember, since you guys are probably just first few days in UTHM and still confused about a lot of things, but there are three things that you can do starting from now. So the first one is that you should research about the top skills for fresh graduates to get a job, and also what are the ways to get these skills. So to answer this, I think just now I have mentioned that you can join different type of society of clubs in UTHM, which is very helpful for you to build this soft skill. And the second thing that I've done is that I set a goal to work in certain industry. During my diploma first semester, I have actually set my goal to work in intellectual property industry, because that time I know that my strength is towards linguistic skills. But if I really want to work in intellectual property industry, I need something more than just a linguistic skill. So to understand more about that, I did a research to understand what are the skills required to work in intellectual property industry. Because if you look at my working life, second role, especially for the patent engineer position in legal industry, intellectual property industry, I have listed several skills that is required. For example, it needs problem solving, it needs communication skills, it needs negotiations and persuasions, it needs project management skills, and also linguistic skills. And before I explain why these skills are required, I think that I need to explain what is exactly a patent engineer. Patent engineer is not something that is very usual. I think that probably I'm the first or only one from UTHM that gets involved in this industry. So I think that most of you who join these mechanical engineering courses because you believe that you can do a lot of hands-on. Probably you believe that you can fix machines, or probably you can do data analysis. A lot of things that is very much mechanical, or something like that. But for patent engineer, it is very different. Patent engineer basically is an engineer that writes legal document that describes a new invention. For example, if Hazim have invented a new headphone, and he needs to protect his headphone so that no one can copy his headset. So I will be the person that actually writes the specifications and submit to the government, so that Hazim, as the inventor, he can has his rights towards this particular product. So basically, it needs good English and also good communication skills, because I need to, instead of fixing machines, I need to talk to clients like every single day. So to achieve this goal, if I graduated with a diploma and degree in mechanical engineering, the skills that I can acquire from a diploma and bachelor degree is fundamentals in mechanical engineering. For example, like technical drawing skill, calculation skills, and a lot of physics related skills, engineering related skills. And because I'm aware that by having diploma and degree may not be good enough for me to get this job, so I was thinking, what are the other clubs that can allow me to learn problem solving, communications, negotiation skills in that 5 years of time, because I took diploma and degree. So I have actually five and a half years of time to prepare my experience. So what I did was I noticed that English debate and Chinese debate secretariat is the clubs that can teach me all these skills. So I joined this club for 5 years. And I think that time, because I want to make sure that, because the one problem that may arise is that if I study on the weekdays and then I join 2 debates on the weekends, there is a possibility that I may not be able to get good results, because I only have 24 hours a day. So I don't have much time to spend on all these things together. So that time I set a schedule, meaning that I set a certain time to study, certain time to go for tournaments, go for training. And because of that, I'm quite lucky that I'm able to graduate with a first class for my diploma and degree, and I'm also awarded the Anugerah Hadiah Buku Yayasan UTHM during my diploma studies. So, which means that if I show this achievement to the interviewer, when I go for interview, I can also say that I'm a fast learner, because I'm able to learn both debating and also learn about mechanical engineering within the same timeline. And also it shows that I'm a person that has good time management, because I'm able to handle all these things all together. So because of this, right, I actually managed to get my first job 2 months before I graduate, before I finish my last semester in degree. So I think that for me, that is considered as an achievement. But because that time, right, I was looking to explore other industry first. So I received my first job as a mechanical engineer in the construction industry. So the thing is that just now I mentioned that there are 3 things that you can do in study life, right? And in working life, you need to change the mindset a bit. So the moment when I start to work, I did 3 things, so which I'm still doing right now. So the first one is I will always understand what are the skills that I can learn from this current position, my current job, and try to understand what is the gap between my current skills with the next role. Because sometimes for example, if you want to try a new industry, But if you want to join the industry, means that you need to understand if you are qualified to join the industry. So that is what meant by the second question. I try to understand what is the difference between your current performance and what you're trying to achieve in future. And the third one is how to make it easier to jump to the next sector or the next industry, which is very important as well. So in my first job as a mechanical engineer in the construction industry, actually it's not just construction, it's more towards piping, engineering, and also drilling. So it's more, so in this job, basically work under the hot sun, and also sometimes have to go for site visit and have to do a lot of drawings, and working until night is a very normal thing for most of the engineers. So that time, because I was still a fresh graduate, and that opening was intended for fresh graduates only, so they only require any candidates that have good fundamentals in mechanical engineering. As long as you're able to produce technical drawing, as long as you're good at calculations, then you're qualified for this job. That's why I got this job first. So throughout that job, I managed to learn project management, and also I'm able to learn how to work under stress. So after that, I have the opportunity to jump into intellectual property industry, which is the job that I actually aiming for. So, and that time I was quite lucky because I successfully joined this second role, within 1 year of time. So that time, I actually joined the second position for 3 years, and I learned about a lot of things. For example, how to manage a client, how to write a patent, and how to do those submissions, things like that. It's a very specific skill set, which is very hard to learn from the market. So from that time, my mindset was like this. So it's like, because one thing that I always ask myself is what I want to do after 3 years or 5 years of time. Do I still want to stay in the same place, or do I want to try something new? So during my second job as a patent engineer, I was thinking that in future there will be a possibility where I could become a manager, meaning that probably I will not be doing operation, probably I'll be focusing more on managing people. So these are the things that I think could happen in future. But to make it happen, I have to do a lot of things, because to become a manager and to become an engineer, it requires very different type of skill sets. But before I explain about that, I would explain about the third job first. In my third role, it is a content specialist, which is basically someone who manage patent data from the China Patent Office, and also do some QAs, QC, and make sure that these data are okay when it is delivered to our customers, things like that. And the reason why I got that job is because the skills that I learned when I was a patent engineer is the skills that they actually want for this job. So I successfully joined this role. In a very short time, and managed to pass all those interviews. Because in this company, usually for big companies, which is multinational companies, usually there will be a few rounds of interviews, and also there will also be examinations as well. Yes, after university life, there will still be examinations when you are looking for a job. It happens in some industry. So I managed to pass these examinations and got this job, and I've acquired several skills such as QA, quality assurance, business sense, and translation skills. So these are the skills that I managed to obtain from this role. And at that time, after 7 or 8 months, they have decided to open up for a promotion for the team lead role. So if you look at if you look at the skills required to be promoted to be a team lead, I only listed around like 10 skills over here, but in actual life, if I look at the job scope, the skills required is like more than one page long. So it's actually more than this, but these are the skills that I have summarized. But if you look at this, the skills that I have marked in the dotted box are the skills that are very important to be managers. But these skills, I didn't have the opportunity to learn these skills in my first, second, and the third job because in my first, second, and third job, I'm actually working as an operation staff, meaning that as long as I deliver my task, then it is okay. I don't have to manage people. I don't have to manage a project. I don't have to do anything like that. So because of that, I am actually lacking of skills, people management skills, meaning that I don't have any experience to manage people. Or, for example, I don't have any hiring skills, meaning that in my previous jobs, I don't have the opportunity to conduct interviews and talk to candidates and judge and then determine whether or not they are suitable for this job. Things like that. And because of this, it may be a bit difficult for me to get this job if I didn't explore other opportunities to obtain these skills. And because of that, remember that I have mentioned that in my second role as the patent engineer, I actually foresee that probably in 3 years or 5 years of time, I could be a manager. So at that time, when I was a patent engineer, 4 years back. So to build my experience, I did 3 things. So over the right side a bit, Hazim, if you hover to the right side for the side projects, up a bit. So for this one, for this one, I did 3 things. So I did 3 side projects. The first one is that I'm still an unofficial debate advisor for UTHM. So meaning that whenever my debate juniors, they want to go for tournaments, they will let me know, and then me and my other teammates, we will arrange a training for our juniors. So because of this first side project, what I learned is I learned how to coach people. So that's the first thing. So in my second side project, I'm also a Toastmaster for a Toastmaster club in Selangor, and I have been in this club for more than 2 years. And when I was in this club, I was also a part of the committee members. So which means that I need to learn how to communicate with a lot of people. I need to learn to manage my team members. I also need to learn how to coach people. In this case, coaching adults. So other than that, I also had the opportunity to be the debate coach for Johan Speaking Academy, which is also based in Kuala Lumpur. And in that, I have been doing that for 2 years. And in that job, I face children and teenagers most of the time. So I have acquired other skills like coaching and also emceeing. So if I look at all these 3 side projects all together, I can say that I am someone who is good at communicating with different people. For example, I can chat with adults, I can chat with kids, I can chat with teenagers, which is a very important skill if you want to be a manager, because sometimes you have to work with someone who are younger than you, and sometimes you have to work with someone who are elder than you. So in these situations, you need to learn how to communicate with these people well so that you can manage the whole team properly. And other than that, time management, because in real life, there are a lot of people who probably wouldn't think to take up extra courses after work, because in working life, sometimes you feel very tired to the extent that you don't want to do something else. Probably you just want to relax and watch Netflix and chill, things like that. So, but the thing is that because I understand that during that time as a patent engineer, I feel that I have the I still have some time during weekends to brush up to build this experience. So if I'm able to justify how can I do all these 3 side projects while doing my full-time job, this gives an impression to my interviewer that I'm someone who is very good at time management. So other than that, I can also use my side projects to prove that I am someone who have leadership skills, because for example, like Toastmaster clubs are the clubs that we need to think how to run this club ourselves. So if you don't have good leadership skills, most likely the club would not be as good as what you want to be. So because of that, during this interview for this promotion, I use my experience in my previous 3 positions, and also I use my experience that I have learned from these side projects to justify how I can fulfill all these skills. And although although my time management skills, leadership skills, and communication skill is not reflected from my previous jobs, but they feel that I have the potential to be the team lead. So that's the reason why I was selected. And because of that, I have acquired several skills such as people management, project management, influencing skill, hiring skill, and a lot of other skills. So it also means that, let's say if I want to go for another promotion in future, I could use this storyline starting from diploma or my first job to show that I'm someone who is good at career planning, because whatever thing that is happening right now today, it happens because of the early planning that I have done since diploma studies. So I hope that this sharing is beneficial to all of you, so that you guys know there are things that can be done starting diploma life, so that it can give you a good head start when you graduate, so that you can find good jobs after you graduate. So I think that's the end of my sharing, and I will pass it back to Hazim for the Q&A sessions. Thank you.
Terima kasih Tuan Vincent atas perkongsian ilmu dan pengalaman yang sangat berfaedah sebentar tadi. Sekarang kita akan teruskan kepada sesi soal jawab. Untuk soalan pertama, the first question is how to develop personal attributes as mechanical engineer in this pandemic situation.
Okay, this is a very good question. So before I answer these questions, I think that I have to answer I have to explain what is a personal attributes. So personal attributes are the characteristics that make you unique, and it could be used to determine your effectiveness in a certain jobs. So basically, personal attributes are soft skills like communication skills, teamwork, or willingness to learn. These kind of skills. So because now we are in a pandemic situation, so if you want to learn these skills, we have to do it online. But how to do it online, right? So for example, like coaching skills, probably you can do some coaching online by, for example, like giving online tuitions, or if you want to improve if you want to demonstrate your willingness to learn, probably you can take part in some online discussions that relates to engineering, or probably you can learn some technologies from documentaries, or probably you can read some scientific papers. So these are the things that you can do online to show that you are developing some personal attributes in pandemic situations. Okay, that's the end of my question. So Hazim, another question.
So for the second question, what is your opinion of mechanical engineering in University Tun Hussein Onn, Malaysia?
Okay, another good question. So basically, right, I don't think that is only for UTHN. It also applies to other university, because whatever university that you attend, if if you take this diploma in mechanical engineering, we only learn about those basic knowledge in mechanical engineering. These basic knowledge, I would say that are required so that we can be an engineer. But you have to understand that our era is different right now because a lot of people graduate with diploma and degree out there. And which means that we cannot just rely on the name of UTHM, or we cannot just rely on the certificate alone just to get a job. That's why just now I was emphasizing on soft skills as well. So, but I think that if you want to be better, I would say that you need to show two soft skills, which are first, problem solving, and second is the willingness to learn. So, but how to do that in UTHM, right? Because in UTHM, I understand that there are some lecturers that have their grants, means that they have the budget to do some projects. So I would say that if you guys can take this opportunity to reach out to these lecturers and get involved, so that when you are involved in these projects, you actually know what's happened in the industry, because UTHM is a technical university. So we actually have a lot of projects that is impacting a lot of people around UTHM now. So this will be a very good opportunity if you enroll in mechanical engineering diploma in UTHM now. Yeah, so that's my answer to these questions.
For the next question, work life and study life have different experience and practical skills. For example, when I finish my diploma mechanical engineering course, do you prefer us to continue or work for a while?
Okay, so to answer these questions, actually I also have a lot of friends that work after diploma, and also I have friends that continue to study degree after diploma. But I think that before you decide whether or not you want to work after diploma or continue to study, there are three things that you need to understand. So the first one is that you need to understand what you want to achieve in future. Second is, it depends on what are the companies that you want to apply in future. And also it really depends on what are the industries that you want to join in future. Because different jobs out there, they have different academics requirement. For example, if you have a diploma, meaning that you are qualified to be a technician. If you have a degree, means that you are qualified to be an engineer. So if you have a master or PhD, probably you are qualified to be a lecturer, things like that. But I think I can share my reason why I went for degree in the first place, because that time I was aiming for intellectual property industry, which is highly related to legal industry. So if I want to join the industry, right, the requirement usually are they would need someone who graduated with first-class degree. And most likely they will say that it would be better if graduated from a famous university. And other than that, some companies, they would prefer to hire master or PhD just to be a patent engineer in this industry. So, for example, even in my current company, I would say that half of my teammates, they have a master and PhD. And they graduated from top universities, for example, universities like China, UK, and Singapore. So I would say that whether you want to work after diploma or you want to continue a degree or you want to go until PhD, it is really up to what you want to achieve in future. Yeah.
So here is the question from Mahadi Akhar. How do you deal with stress while achieving all these soft skills?
Okay, so I think that this could be a bit cliche, but I would say that never give up. Because to be honest, there are a few times when I go for tournament in UTHM last time, I feel devastated because in UTHM, because UTHM is a technical university, meaning that the team that I was in that time, all my teammates, all of us are engineers. So you can imagine a group of engineers go there, represent UTHM to fight with other lawyers from other universities. So it was pretty much stressful for all of us just to be in that situations. So because not just me, my teammates as well, we understand that if we want to build our resume or if we want to polish our soft skills, we need to do a bit of sacrifice lah. So we actually force ourselves to go for tournaments, and after we go for these tournaments, we will actually learn how to brush up our communication skills. But to add on, soft skills usually you only can see the result of soft skills after you invest it for few years of time. Because when I joined UTHM 10 years ago, I don't really speak English. I was literally, and also I was from Kampong, so I don't really speak English and I have really bad communication skills. I would say something like that. And when I want to go for a tournament, my senior would literally say that when I speak like a robot. So it was very, very terrible. My soft skills was very bad at that time. But it took me 5 years of time just to be good at soft skills. So, and because of the stress, in terms of stress management, I would say that you will be facing stress at studies and also during working life. Stress is everywhere. It depends on how you can accept this stress and also digest. So for example, probably I would just watch Netflix or watch YouTube, and then no more stress. Okay.
So here the random question from Denny Effendi. Any tips on time management or study plans?
Sorry, study what?
Do you have tips on time management or study plans?
Study plans or time management. Okay, what happened that time was that in terms of study plan, usually I would study with my group of friends. So for example, probably my strength is at linguistic skills. So when I study with my friends would ask me more about linguistics subjects. But probably I have friends who are very good at mathematics. So when I teach them linguistic skills, they will also teach me mathematics, things like that. So that was my study plan. Find a group of students to work with each other. And in terms of time management, that time, I would say that it was quite hectic. It was quite a busy life because I study on the weekdays, and on the weekends, I would spend one day to go for debating training. So, which means that I will try my best only to limit my social activities or debating on weekends only. So, means that I have more time to do my assignments on weekdays. Yeah, so that's what I can advise for time management. Just make sure that you don't spend too much time on social activities to the extent that it affects your homework.
So here another random question from Akila Jumari. In your opinion, how to get the first job without any experience?
First job without any experience. Yeah, actually, I think everyone got their first job without experience, but there are few things that you can do. So, for example, let's say if you happen to be not that active in UTHM, because I think that actually represent majority of the graduates that I have observed right now. But things that you can do is probably you can focus on internship. Because from what I understand, we have a short semester. Sometimes we have classes on short semester, but sometimes we don't. So I would advise that if you have short semesters where you don't have anything to do, probably you can go to find some free internship to learn something, to build your experience. Other than that, probably you can help your lecturers to be a research assistant so that you can take part in their projects as well, so that you can learn something that is more than what you learn from classes. And other than that, I would say that to build experience, I would say that if you have the opportunity, try to join more clubs in UTHM. But remember, don't try to maintain the result as well. Yeah, that's my advice.
For the next question, what is the most memorable moment for you in UTHM?
Okay, so my memorable moment in UTHM is that because I was very active in English debating, so the thing is that I get to know a lot of lifelong friends, which I'm still in contact right now, even though it has been 10 years. And I get to travel for free to a lot of places. For example, I traveled to Sabah for 2 times, taking the flight for 2 times for free because I went for tournaments. And yeah, I still can visit those islands around when I have I had a free time last time. And also, UTHM was quite famous at that time because our team is full of engineers, but we still managed to get a semi-finalist and quarter-finalist, which was like a miracle. And then I also received Anugerah Hadiah Buku Yayasan UTHM, which is only given during graduation, and if I'm not mistaken, it is awarded to around 20 recipients per graduation. So that was memorable, and I also was given the opportunity to deliver graduate speech during my diploma graduations, and a lot of nice and kind lecturers are. So there's a lot of memorable memories in UTHM.
So for the next question, you take diploma. Why don't you choose Asasi or Matrix over diploma? Is it much worth it?
Okay, so to answer this question, I think that it highly depends on whether or not you are very sure that you want to be in mechanical engineering line. Because when during that time after SPM, I think that mechanical engineering is something that worth to try. Probably I can try this area. So I applied for diploma in mechanical engineering, and the thing is that I would say that if compared to Matrix or Asasi, I would say that it has a bit of advantage. For example, because when you go for job interview next time, probably after diploma or degree, interviewer, they will always want to know what are your experience or what are your strengths in mechanical engineering. So for example, now all of you are taking 2.5 years of diploma, and if you go for degree, after credit transfer, it should be 3 years of degree like in UTHM. So total, you have 5.5 years of time to build your experience, to gain experience in mechanical engineering. But let's say if you go for Asasi or Matrix, I think Asasi is only 1 year. But after that, the degree for the bachelor degree in mechanical is 4 years. So although the total duration is 5 years, but actually you only have 4 years of time to explore mechanical engineering. So it means that if you have 5.5 years, you actually have 2 times of opportunity to do internship. And you also have extra 1.5 years of time just to understand what are the sectors that interest you the most in mechanical. Because with mechanical engineering, you can join construction, you can join telecommunication, you can join petroleum engineering. There are a lot of options out there. And in diploma, you would focus more on hands-on, and you can learn different hands-on skills. And after diploma, you can use diploma certificate to get a job as a technician, but not an Asasi and diploma. And from my experience, I would say that it was easier to get into FKMP, which is the faculty for mechanical engineering in UTHM, because you can use your diploma result to get into FKMP without going through UPU again. Because if you go through UPU, which means that you have to wait, and there is no guarantee that you will get the same course again. But if you use diploma in mechanical engineering and apply for FKMP for the degree in mechanical engineering, high chances that you can get this course. So because if you're for UTHM and apply in UTHM again, if I'm not mistaken, they just process everything internally. So it will be easy for you to get this degree as well. Yeah, so and also I would say that if you go for matrix or assessee, and if you want to get mechanical engineering, but sometimes it's hard to say that you will get this course. Probably they will offer you something else. So that time probably you need to change your career planning if that really happens. So for diploma, I think it has some advantages if you are really sure that you want to be in mechanical engineering field.
So for the next question, when was the most effort you have shown?
Okay, so for the most effort that I have shown is that I think that during that time in UTHM, I was juggling between English debate competition, classes, and exams. And there are a lot of times that I didn't go back home during semester break and stay in university because I was attending debate training. And also sometimes, because just like what I've mentioned, I have to study on weekdays and I have to attend debate training on weekends as well. And when there is tournament nearby, we will be having trainings from 8 p.m. until 12 at the midnight for like almost every single day. But then this happens on the weekdays, and then on the next morning we have to go for classes again. So that was the time that I put a lot of effort. And then during that time, I think it's not just applicable for debate club, but it's also applicable to other clubs that actually send. If you happen to be in the kind of activities that have to keep on representing UTHM for a lot of tournaments, there will be a lot of times where you have to skip classes, you have to skip quiz, final exams just to represent UTHM to go for these tournaments. And although I can skip classes, but after these classes, after these tournaments, I have to study myself. I have to study myself, and then I still have, if I happen to skip any tests or final exams, I have to retake those tests and final exams. So if you guys happen to retake these tests or exams in future, it would be, I would tell you first, it will be very hard compared to the original paper because you have extra time to study. So means that you should be able to do well if they give a harder question. So, and this actually happened to me in diploma, like for every semester that I actually retake the test and have to study myself. And in degree, I also it also happened to me like probably a few times per year. And regardless of that, I'm lucky that I'm still able to graduate with first class and also achieve some results for my debating experience in UTHM. So that was the most effort that I have shown in UTHM.
So next question is, what characteristic needed to make a good engineer?
Okay, so because I have, technically speaking, I only have like 9 months of experience to be a mechanical engineer, but I can tell you what are the skills that would be good for mechanical engineer. So the first one would be problem solving, second one would be critical thinking, the third one would be able to work under pressure, and the fourth one is you're able to take responsibility, because the moment when you become an engineer in future, it means that you have to solve a lot of problems. For example, probably machine is down, probably the whole factory is down, then you have to solve the problem. And then sometimes you are the only one that have to find out what is the problem, and you are the only one that have to solve these problems. So I would say that these skills will be very helpful. So when you are in diploma and degree, probably you can try to find if there's any opportunity that you can explore, so that it can be a good example when you want to explain it to your interviewer to show that you are good at problem solving or you are good at working under pressure. Yeah, that would be my advice.
So for the next question, how to improve linguistic skill and social skill effectively?
Okay, so to improve linguistic skills and social skills, I would say that there are only 2 steps. So first one, speak more, don't be shy. And second, try to find a club in university and join the activity so that you can improve your social skills. And I would like to say that it really takes time to see the result, because even for myself, it took me 5 years of time. So you have to keep forcing yourself to do it. And that time I joined English debate club because I think that it would help me a lot to speak better. So, and sometimes in terms of social skills, last time in UTHM, I would always hang out with my debate teammates, probably hang out at Mamak stores and McDonald's to improve my social skills. Don't just stay at room and study all the time. Just go out and have fun a bit. And in some time, and also right, this kind of social skills and linguistic skills, you have to keep on practicing it. So it's because even for me, although I have graduated for 5 years, but I still join Toastmaster class, which is the public speaking and leadership club, and which I have the opportunity to mix with different type of people in the club. And then I also become the part-time debate trainer and things like that to actually improve my communication skill, because in university we only talk to our lecturers and talk to our classmates. So after you graduate, you will be meeting with different type of people. So that is why I'm still training my communication skills right now. And I would say that chit-chatting or communication skills is a very good skills, because it really helps you a lot when you go for interview or when you want to mix with other colleagues in the workplace. Yeah, so that is my advice.
Kita sudah sampai di akhir majlis. Jutaan terima kasih diucapkan atas perkongsian pengalaman yang sangat berfaedah oleh Tuan Olvitsen. Sekarang kita akan meneruskan sesi bergambar secara atas talian. Diminta para pelajar untuk on camera. Satu, dua, tiga. Akhir kalam, sekali lagi saya ingin mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih kepada Tuan Olvitsen, Ketua Penelaras, Flow Manager dan semua pihak yang berusaha untuk menjayakan majlis kita pada malam ini. Kita sudahi majlis kita dengan Karafatul Majlis dan Surah Al-As. Wabillahi taufik, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dan selamat malam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you and good night, sir.
Thank you.